elementary school. The outstanding balance on that debt is $5.8 million, and we have that amount of money in the bank right now in our debt service account to pay that debt. We are not allowed to spend any of our money or construction money until our debt is in reserve in that account, the balance to pay that. So we will have no debt. We have that debt covered in the bank right now.
What will happen to East Bluff's funds collected in the city and voted on by city residents? Does the Lowndes Board of Education assume East Bluff's debt, or does the Valdosta City Council, who backed those bonds, have to take responsibility for paying off any of the debt?
Again, we have the funds right now to pay off our debt. We have to have our accounts set up that way. I think there's still some debate on the East Bloss funds regarding the Bloss 4 election and whether or not that would be considered a valid election, since it required a joint referendum between the city and the county voters. So that would be an issue that would have to be determined. But as far as our debt, I would say again that we have the funds to cover our bond debt in the bank.
From your vantage point as city school administrators, what's going to happen to taxes in Valdosta and Lowndes County?
Once again, I think boards of education have had to make some very difficult financial decisions given the tough economic times that we have faced in our state. We've looked at school systems in our state that have had to make program cuts. Some school systems have done away with athletic programs. Various school systems have addressed the deficiency in state funds in a variety of ways. Anytime you talk about cuts, you have to determine whether or not you're going to pick those cuts up on a local level. And again, that's a tough decision that our boards have to make. I think our board had maintained a 15.98 millage rate for 3 or 4 years in a row. And through, like Dr. Kaysen said, over the past 8 years, $25 million worth of state cuts in state funds, our board had to do something. It is our hope that the economic recovery will happen sooner than later, and that the state will return the austerity cuts that they have bestowed upon us. So again, I think that the board has been very reactive to the needs of our students, to the needs of our community, and they have not cut any of the vital programs in our school system. And I applaud our board for those actions.
Will school consolidation save money?
The answer is no. It will not save money. Even QE admits that there will be no cost savings. And in fact, based on the things that I mentioned earlier, you will see cost increase tremendously in both school districts, or with the combined district, excuse me. So there will be no cost savings.
When it comes time to vote on the referendum issue, will it be clear to all voters exactly what they will be voting for?
We don't know yet, because we don't know. I don't think I know I haven't seen the actual question that will be on the ballot, and I'm not sure if anybody else has seen it or not. So I don't think it's been printed yet. If it has, nobody on the stage, I think, has seen it at this point. So usually they're worded a little bit difficult to read, but just my advice, I guess, would be take your time and read it and understand what you're reading. So no, we haven't seen it.
This questionnaire asks, who exactly is funding the QE effort?
I'd love to know, but I don't know.
Are there financial benefits to be accrued by business entities as a result of consolidation of city and county schools? How will business interests benefit from the consolidation of city and county schools?
There might be some slight benefit, I'm not sure. That's another thing that we don't know. I have no way of telling. None of us are fortune tellers. We don't know how this would work out related to business. There's some argument on QE's part of bringing, consolidating the schools would bring in additional industry and additional business. However, no one knows for sure at this point in time. So I think the answer is that nobody knows.
Will the Lowndes Board of Education sell Bazemore Hydro Stadium to Valdosta State University?
You must ask the Lowndes County Board of Education.
Who will decide the district zones if and when consolidation occurs?
The Lowndes County Board of Education, the setting board at that time.
Will Southeast Elementary School be rebuilt if consolidation passes?
Would hope so.
This question is directed directly to Ms. Beelan. You indicated that many insightful leaders in our community are considering several long-term factors. Would you mind identifying these individuals and giving us an idea of these long-term factors?
I'll say that the individuals involve people who have been with QE and some of those who have not. And I have to appreciate what people are trying to do. I don't think they're representing some special interest or pocketing money for this. And I think they've taken their time and thought through it. So that's why I have to take the position of respecting what they have to say and listening very carefully to that. One of those things has been the business aspects of it. Another might be the racial diversity. Another might be the chance to have a different high school set up, maybe add a high school. I personally have trouble voting for QE because I sit very close to the Valdosta City Schools, for consolidation. I sit very close to the city schools. I have 2 children that go to this high school, and I'm very comfortable with the finances and the way the school system is run. I'm excited about the curriculum and the progress we're making. But I don't want to be closed-minded. I'm certainly open to listen as this process goes on.
What will be the future for the current administrators and support staff at the central office if consolidation passes, especially as it relates to teachers with tenure and employees who've been there long term?
There's no real answer for this, but the probable thing that would happen, teachers in consolidations are usually safe. They would not be guaranteed the same school or the same grade level or any of those kind of things. It is my understanding at this point, based on what my attorneys have told me, that the teachers who have tenure and have gained tenure would maintain that tenure. District level, myself and other assistant superintendents and principals, as administrators, we do not have tenure. So there would be no effect on us. We don't have tenure. We don't have tenure now and would not have tenure then.
I'd like to just comment on that in regards to our teachers having jobs. And the research that I've done, your charter is gone. So Lowndes County, in essence, really has wouldn't have any obligation to say that they're gonna keep our teachers at all. So, I don't see how, and not saying that what Doc said isn't any validity there, but I don't see how Lowndes County how the teachers that teach for the city school system will continue to have jobs when they don't have a school system to work for. All of the positions will be owned by Lowndes County Board of Education. So again, that's just my opinion. That would be up to the Lowndes County Board of Education on whether they will continue to hire personnel or not.
Does that mean then that city school teachers face some jeopardy, some risk?
They would face all of the risks, not only the school teachers, but our administrators as well.
What will happen with the VECA program if consolidation comes about?
My hope, and I think everyone else in the Valdosta City School Board's hope, is that the VECA program would continue along with all the other great programs that we have, because they truly are meeting the needs of our students. And if consolidation happens, there's no guarantee that they will stick around. And once again, based on the experience, they don't always stick around. Some of them will disappear, unfortunately. Because of different philosophies, boards think in different ways. And I would hope and pray that our excellent effort at VECA and at the high school with our other programs that we have there, like IB, would stay with us, even in a combined district. But there's no guarantee.
Is it, yes?
Let's be clear. Our friends, and they are our friends, the Lowndes County Board of Education members and the staff out there, they will have no obligation whatsoever to absorb any of our programs, any of our schools. That responsibility will rest solely on that said board at that time. Understand, if this takes place, this is going to be a big burden for the Lowndes County Board of Education and for all taxpayers. And as this gets closer, I think everybody's going to see that.
Is it your belief that communities that have consolidated school systems also experience greater parental involvement than those that are not consolidated? Sure. Is it your belief that communities that have consolidated school systems experience a greater level of parental involvement than those that have not been consolidated?
I haven't seen any statistics in regards to that.
Again, I second what Mr. Lee is saying. I haven't seen any data to support that either. My belief would be that parent involvement, parents are going to be involved whether we are one district or we're two. To me, of grave concern is that we have 7,700 students and families within Valdosta City Schools. If we consolidate, that will be almost 20,000 students in one school district. The bigger the school districts get, oftentimes it's harder to keep those connections.
This questioner asked, how is it possible to view a detailed outline of the consolidation plan relative to purpose, timeline, budget, and job security?
There is no such plan, at least not to my knowledge. I've asked for plans, I've seen none, and it goes back to planning. Those details would have been worked out during a planning process with both school districts involved heavily in that planning process. I haven't been involved at all in that planning process, and I don't think Lowndes has been involved at all. So there apparently is no detailed outline or planned purpose or timeline.
Since neither school board proposed school consolidation, What group stands to benefit the most from this plan? Say it again. Since neither school board proposed consolidation, what group stands to benefit from consolidation, since the plan came from neither the city or the county? The idea to consolidate, where did it come from? If it did not come from either education body, who stands to benefit? If it did not come from education administrators, county board, city board, who stands to benefit? That's this question.
Okay, this is just strictly my own personal opinion, but we're still unclear on who's going to benefit, and maybe that may become evident the day after the election. We're not sure of that. But we know that the initiative was started through the Chamber of Commerce, so I don't know if they're going to benefit from it, but I think that whoever is really